A huge historic howitzer weighing almost 200 tons.
It's colossal. My God, what a huge gun is that?
Can a team split this metal monster in two?
You can't lift the barrel out. The moment of truth, will it or won't it?
And avoid friendly fire to haul it almost 400 miles to Holland.
Driving a lorry is very easy. It's all the other idiots on the road that make life difficult.
The team must battle rising tides.
It's getting critical.
The ship is starting to get a little bit panicky.
And jammed roads.
It's going to be snug there, but we do snug.
One gigantic gun. One team with a mission to move it. A titanic task that will test the nerves of the people who dare to do monster moves. Southwest Wiltshire. A tranquil corner of the English countryside. Unless you live in Lark Hill. Home to the Royal Artillery. The British Army's big guns. The Royal Regiment's headquarters and training school have been based in this garrison town for almost a century. They're overseen by Deputy Garrison Commander Lieutenant Colonel John Lefebvre.
The British Army have been based here since World War I, predominantly occupied by gunners. It's perfect for us for what we need to do because it's on the edge of Salisbury Plain and we can just drive straight out onto the plain.
Icons of the regiment's combative history stand proudly on display here.
The Royal Artillery is so diverse, from flying unmanned aircraft in the sky to long-range guided missiles, down to the artillery pieces you see behind me.
But one gun stands taller than all the others. This railway howitzer, the biggest of its kind anywhere in the world,
is by far the largest caliber weapon that the Royal Artillery have ever manned. It is just significant in its sheer size. It's monster, it's colossal. It's a 195-ton beast.
Made up of 3 component parts, the howitzer is immense, weighing the same as a jumbo jet. With a barrel 18 inches wide and 16.5 meters long, it can pitch up to 40 degrees. Enabling it to launch 1-ton explosive shells onto a target 13 miles away.
Firing an 18-inch shell, huge amount of power, it's going to do an awful lot of damage.
Railway howitzers were used on both sides of the trenches during World War I. They were large enough to do significant damage, and they were mobile, crisscrossing the Western Front on a network of rail lines.
The idea was not necessarily to fire for range, it was to fire for sheer weight of the shell and the impact at the other end.
As the war progressed, the British Army developed bigger and bigger howitzers.
The gun is an 18-inch howitzer and is the largest in the country.
5 of these huge 18-inch howitzers were built for use on the front, but by the time they were ready for action, the fighting had stopped. By the 1960s, most had gone.
The others were all cut up and either melted or sold off for scrap.
Only the Lark Hill howitzer survived. Now, after nearly a century, it's finally being deployed on a unique 6-month mission overseas.
When I first saw the howitzer, I thought, my God, what a huge, huge gun is that?
In the picturesque city of Utrecht, staff at the National Railway Museum are preparing for a major exhibition.
We had last year a very good year. We had 360,000 visitors. Then we're trying to achieve more visitors this year.
An exhibition exploring the role of the railways in warfare.
We have tanks, we have an armored train, we have a German steam locomotive.
There's just one thing missing.
We need the howitzer because it's the most spectacular thing which we can show in our exposition. I think it's, well, we say the cherry on the cake or something like that.
The howitzer can't roll across country on rails anymore. This metal monster needs trucking almost 200 miles from Lark Hill through the south of England to the port of Harwich, then sailing 130 miles to Rotterdam. A treacherous 61-mile road trip through tight, twisting streets then beckons to reach the Railway Museum.
It's a very big challenge to move the gun to Utrecht. It's the most expensive element of our exhibition.
In Lark Hill, the race is on. Their howitzer needs a major facelift before it's put on display.
The railway howitzer is in awful condition. I can say categorically that the railway howitzer will not go to Holland unless we have it refurbished.
Well, we've done smaller stuff over the years. This is a big one.
The gun's sort of taken over my life. As my other half would say, it's become the other woman in my life.
Hopefully it'll look pretty smart. Yeah, nice and shiny. Yeah, I reckon it'll be quite impressive.
After 2 weeks hard graft, the howitzer is back in pristine condition.
I think done an excellent job. It was important to me not to allow a piece of equipment such as this to just decay and rot. Going to be on public view. We need to be proud of it, and I believe people will be proud of it when they see it in Holland. It was worth just finishing this off quite nicely. But now, well done, guys, that's looking good. You have to remind them that it was made in Britain.
All that remains now is the small matter of a 400-mile move.
Worst case scenario for me is if somebody pulls out of moving it next week. That would be very disappointing.
With less than a week until the delivery deadline, one of the country's leading hauliers is lined up to take on the task.
Yeah, I don't have an official drawing. I only have a small book, but unfortunately, for instance, there's also the wrong weight of the barrel in it. So.
But just 5 days before Peter Paul's exhibition is due to open, his move plan falls apart.
Well, at this moment, everything is very uncertain.
A miscalculation of the barrel's weight means the original truckers are off the job. There's no one to move it.
I'm a little bit pessimistic. I think it will cost a lot of money.
Bugger.
In Wiltshire, the Royal Artillery has a 200-ton problem. In less than 5 days, their huge World War I railway howitzer needs to be at the Dutch National Railway Museum, where they're preparing for a major exhibition. But there's no one to move it.
It's been busy. It's been a busy time. The contractor realised that he wasn't going to have a big enough equipment to carry out the lift, and all the weights that he'd been working to were incorrect for the transport move.
In the nick of time, the Royal Artillery team get the call they've been waiting for.
Fantastic, brilliant, excellent news, smashing.
I've asked us to get together today just to give you a quick update on the movement of the railway howitzer behind me, because there have been some complications. A lot of work has been going on over the last couple of days, and I'm pleased to announce that it will move. We've had a contractor change at last notice, and the contractors who will conduct the move are HC Wilson Transport of Bury St Edmunds.
At the 11th hour, a haulage firm from Suffolk is sending a top team of heavy haulers. Mick Farrow, known as Thumper.
I'd rather not go into that, if you don't mind.
Dave Allison, or Dodge.
He's a bit of a dodgy character.
And John Stocks, a.k.a.
I don't think I've got a nickname.
Stocksy. The blue-eyed boy.
We generally do tend to get a lot more warning of the jobs. We could do with a bit more with this one, to be honest.
The boys have got less than 24 hours to get to Harwich and board the ferry bound for Holland.
It's going to be tight, very tight, because we've got to be on the road by nightfall. If we don't, we're not going to make the ferry in the morning. There's just no room for error.
They're banking on some help to load the howitzer from Bob McGrain's crew at Ainscoe Crane Hire.
This is a 500-ton lever. We've probably got the best part of £4 million worth of equipment here.
That is enormous.
Loading this 200-ton Titan will be far from straightforward. It's just too heavy to travel along tarmac roads in one piece. So Bob's team must split the giant howitzer in two for the move. They'll use hydraulic jacks to release the heavy caps holding the 104-ton barrel in place, and slings to swing it clear. They'll repeat the process with the carriage, spreading the weight across 2 trucks for the road trip.
This is a one-off, and there's a lot of interest from our guys in doing the job as well.
Love it.
First up for Bob and his crew, remove the caps.
That's this cap here. Our crane will attach to that, and then this has to be pulled out this way. This should be able to slide out, but they've done a wonderful job of painting it, and there's thick paint all round these faces.
It'll take some muscle to defeat Colonel Lefebvre's paint job.
I don't mind hard work.
Paint will stop a lot of things. It's surprising.
Hold it there, mate.
Cardiovascular exercise.
It's taking up precious time.
It could be 5 minutes and it could be 5 hours, unfortunately.
And time is the one thing they don't have. The ferry won't wait.
We'll get it done today. That's about as definite as I'll give you.
3.5 hours into the job, Bob's crew finally released the caps.
Yeah, we've got it, mate, we've got it. Right, got it.
We're just waiting to get it transferred onto the trucks, and then I'll be much, much happier.
With the caps off, they can fasten the steel lifting cables to the crane's giant hook and attach fabric slings that wrap around the barrel to create a huge cradle. But there's a problem.
At the moment, at the
firing end, it's locked into a ratchet mechanism which cannot be disconnected.
Rusting cogs clamp the barrel to the carriage. It won't budge. They'll have to lift slowly so the gears disengage.
Just pinch it up, nice and steady. Nice and steady. What weight you got on there now?
15 ton there.
Keep pinching up, nice and steady.
Suddenly, the aging gears spring to life,
Hold it there, hold it there.
leaving the barrel hanging precariously over their heads.
We've only got 60 ton on the crane and it's already started to pivot. We didn't expect it to move at all.
The barrel's come down and the pulls have turned.
Right.
There's a bit of a click when it first started going, but it's all gone.
Time for a second go.
The moment of truth, will it or won't it?
Straight up and then back that way. That's all we're just watching to make sure it does.
Yeah, it's going.
Keep going up, mate. Keep going up.
And you can see she's lifting smoothly. These shafts are rising out the bearing caps, lovely. She's clear of the cogs.
That's it. That's the one they wanted. Excellent stuff. 104 tons or the actual cabin there.
104, well, we're clocking 104, so within the limits of the accuracy of our indicator.
That's interesting. Okay, 104.
That is really good sight to see. And no damage. That's the key.
Steady, steady, stop.
This is going on steroids, this one. How about putting a couple of these under? All right.
The 104-ton barrel will max out John's truck. It must sit in the center so its weight is distributed evenly across the wheels.
It affects the vehicle on its cornering and braking and everything if you don't load the load in the middle.
1:30 p.m. Less than 17 hours to go before the ferry leaves Harwich. The crew packs the barrel tight.
That'll do us.
And chain it down.
Coming through.
2:30 p.m. Time to load the carriage. It's got lifting points, so should be easier.
What you've got, you've one here and one there. That's the lifting points for this carriage. So we just shackle onto them with the wires and then lift it up.
But it's not all plain sailing. The carriage is too tall to travel safely.
They have manoeuvrability problems in Holland.
It'll be too high on the truck.
To strip the carriage down to size, the crew must remove a hefty cast iron pin so they can pull out the rear set of wheels known as a bogie.
You take that pin out, this bogie drifts off.
Easier said than done.
Can't twist it, can't move it.
It's stuck, jammed with years of grease and dirt.
That pin has got to come out no matter what. There will be a way. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but there will be a way.
Right, James, start pumping.
Will a trusty jack and brute force do the trick?
Is it coming, Drew?
Yeah, no, it's not moving yet. Duck at the moment ceased. Just because it hasn't moved for an awful long time.
Go on, keep going. Keep going, mate. Keep pumping.
Do you hear something crack?
That's not moving at all.
Time's ticking on. We don't want to be working in the dark ideally, so...
Oh, here we go.
Take out the other pin.
He's a beauty.
There's another pin that goes horizontally. It's not the one you'd logically take out because it's very difficult to get onto it. But I think out of frustration, Drew just hit the end of it with a hammer and it moved.
As he let the weight off, I saw the pin move. And I thought, I'll give that a couple of smites.
All that struggling with 30-ton jacks, and it actually came out easy with a little 2-pound topping hammer.
Man of the moment.
3:30 p.m. With the clock ticking, the 78-ton carriage finally edges clear of its rear bogie.
That's going up now, Mike, sir.
Okay, keep pinching up, mate. Keep pinching up. Slew right. Slew right.
Perfect. Look at that.
Hand holder there.
And that's lifted absolutely perfectly level. So nice piece of engineering, whoever designed the lifting attachments.
Keep coming down. Keep coming down.
Yeah, that's it, that's the one.
It's gone on there really well. It's gone on there really well.
Just as they gear up for the road, Colonel Lefebvre drops a bombshell. A 1-ton shell traveling with the howitzer could be live.
Last thing we want to do is stop this whole move because there's somebody scared that there's a shell that's got some high explosives in it.
The Colonel calls in the bomb squad.
Somebody, hopefully, at some point will have checked that these are free from explosives. It has been known for things in museums not to have been checked and be fully loaded with explosive.
An explosion here wouldn't just leave a crater in the Colonel's parade ground.
I'm basically just checking the fill. What we've got there is a mixture of bitumen and concrete, which confirms that it's got a completely inert filling. There is no chance of that exploding or anything like that en route. Completely safe.
"5 p.m. With the howitzer and its ammunition loaded, truckers John and Mick hit the road. And they're up against it. They need to reach Harwich Port before the ferry leaves at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Driving a lorry is very easy. It's all the other idiots on the road that make life difficult. I've got a muppet here, obviously doesn't realise what a right-hand indicator means. I've been lucky up to now, I haven't even messed any gear changes up, so I'm doing quite well, really. This is the maximum you can take legally on the road with short notice. Ooh, any gear, that'll do.
As the trucks slowly make their way to Harwich, in Utrecht, Peter Paul's team is working flat out getting ready for the howitzer's arrival.
Well, things are running well, and well, we had a bad start, but now things are running very well. It arrived just a few days before opening. It's a close finish.
But photos of the crew's handiwork in Wiltshire are giving the Dutch lifting crew a head start.
And the backside is over there.
Over there, right, yeah.
So we need this one first?
No, you first need the other one, because put it down and then the other one.
20 past midnight. 2 trucks pull into Harwich Port, carrying the world's largest surviving railway gun, a 200-ton howitzer, ready for an 8-hour crossing to Rotterdam in the morning.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
We live in a dream, aren't we?
While Mick and John get a few hours shut-eye, Chief Officer Trevor Rowe is working out where to position the deadweight on the ferry.
The trailers that we load in Harwich weigh about 18 tons, so it's the equivalent of putting at least 10 of those trailers on the ship in one hit. What we don't want to happen is that we put the gun on one side of the ship so that the ship flops over too much. We couldn't cope with a sudden load of 200 tons on one side. If we go to the 3D graphics, the ship's upside down.
7 a.m. The howitzer waits dockside. It has to load last to balance the ferry, but the departure is only 1 hour away.
I'm freezing, my hand's starting to burn now. Bitterly cold today. John, there's a delay on the trailer. We could be held up here for another 15 minutes.
A low loader booked onto the ferry is running late. It has to board before the howitzer. But the delay could cause more problems for the team. Mick and John must time their loading precisely with the rising tide. They can only board via a floating ramp that connects the ferry to the quay. As the tide rises, it pushes the peak of the ramp higher and higher. Leave it too late, and the low loader could be grounded, pushing the howitzer to a watery grave.
No, this is the next stage which could go seriously wrong. And we have had a situation where we couldn't get on the boat.
It worries me a little bit. You can see the tide is rising at the moment, so it's getting critical.
The ship is starting to get a little bit panicky about getting us on because the tide's coming in and the ramp is going up.
Your camera, you can see there's really a bump. It's getting really big in the middle.
Miss the boat, and the howitzer misses the exhibition.
I think if we got no more than sort of 15 minutes, we should have been on there ages ago.
I'm not too happy at the moment. I'm a little bit nervous.
The ramp is going to get to a point where we're going to have to do something because otherwise we're not going to get up it.
With the situation critical, the latecomer pulls into view.
Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the other wide one.
Why doesn't he go on?
He's making a bit of a meal of it.
Yeah, you can go.
Need to get on with it now.
Five minutes to departure.
We've got to get on there fairly sharpish because the boat wants to leave.
John's first with the barrel. But is it too late?
Right up on that job.
Straight.
Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Keep coming, John.
John's in.
Right, let's get her fired up.
Now Mick's truck carrying the carriage. This could be tougher.
My trailer sits a lot lower than John's and it will scrape along the ground.
The ramp's looking fairly steep at the moment. Just take it nice and easy, mate, all right?
Go a little bit to the left. Yeah, nicely in the middle, like this.
Mick's over the peak, but his trailer could ground on the steep ramp down to the ferry.
You can hear the mud flap scraping now on the ground. It's that tight.
Thank God, yes, we made it. As you can see, nicely on. Exactly where we wanted it, so everybody's very happy.
8 a.m. The howitzer finally set sail into the unpredictable swells of the North Sea. In Utrecht, the team at the Railway Museum has its own concerns.
1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. I think it will be very tight. The truck with the howitzer will come into the museum from that big door.
Even if the howitzer makes it to Holland, it might be too big to squeeze into the exhibition hall.
And the problem is this pole, it's in the way, but we can't move this pole because the museum will collapse. It's supporting the roof. Maybe we can leave it here. It's a nice spot anyway, but no, I'll be really disappointed, but I think it will fit.
"5 p.m. Rotterdam, Europe's busiest port, handling 420 million tons of cargo every year. Time for Mick and John to find out if the antique howitzer has weathered the North Sea squall.
Well, it's still on, that's a bit of a result.
It's still on the trailer at the moment. It's been a fairly rough crossing on the ferry. We're just making sure that everything is okay. Tyres are all still in good condition. Right, here we go again.
It's a 61-mile slog to Utrecht. Mick and John are banking on a clear run.
We've had it before where a water main has burst and the street's closed. Then it throws everything into chaos.
For the first time, this howitzer is on continental soil.
Well, it's quite a proud moment, really.
And it's got John reminiscing about his own army days.
It's a Royal Artillery gun and there's a Royal Engineer moving it. Aha!
The wide motorways are easy going.
Still haven't got to the awkward bit, which is presumably through the city centre. So we've got the fun to come up.
But the winding city streets will be much tougher.
The plan is to go across the traffic lights, up the one way, up the street ahead of us on the left side, reverse up, then go onto the wrong side of the street. Right. We might just nip the curb as we go round. This is the challenge tonight, to get round these corners, then get to the site entrance and reverse in. Okay, let's go.
Back you come, John. Keep coming, mate. All clear. Just a bit of a tight left-hand bend at the moment with a few posts in the way. I'll start taking it round, John, a little bit.
10 p.m. They finally approach the museum gates. But this is where their problems really begin.
We've heard that it's fairly snug. But we do snug. Ridiculously tight we don't do, but snug we do.
The turn into the museum is the tightest yet. Try taking it head on, and the howitzer will wreak havoc. So Mick and John have no choice but to back this beast into the museum. The crew will lay down blocks to help the trucks over the curb and steer the rear axles by remote control so they can squeeze into the museum grounds.
Well, this general job is when things go wrong, when you're nearly there, and you tend to relax a bit and you think, well, that's it, job done. But this is normally where it bites you in the backside, really.
we've got this far, and we don't want to be bursting any tyres.
Peter Paul arrives to check his monster delivery.
Great, that's it. Oh my God. Well, very happy. I'm so glad it's arrived. It's the best thing that can happen. It's great. I promised Conal the Firth to drink a beer with him Friday when he is here. But I think I start tonight with a cold beer.
Keep the beer on ice. Dodge is taking over.
Dodge at this moment is the boss. Once I hand him this lead, he's in charge. So any damage from this point has been passed over to Dodge.
He plugs in a remote control known as a Wonder Lead to steer the rear axles.
You have control on the Wonder Lead.
If I wasn't here to steer, they'd be in a bit of a pickle, really.
This is the most difficult part, what's now happening. Woo.
Mick's truck just squeezes through.
We're in.
Hello, mate.
All we've got to do now is get this one in, close the fencing.
Yes. And then you're going to sleep.
But on the roadside, Dodge's remote is dodgy.
It's looking like we might have an electrical problem with this particular Wonder Lead. Try that.
Nothing. Just what you want.
Looks like I'm going to have to do it on my own, mate.
With the remote broken, Dodge can't steer the rear wheels.
I'm not really happy at all at the moment. It's dark out there. It's reverse on my blind side as well, which isn't very nice.
All Dodge can do is guide John in.
Oh dear, I don't like going around corners like this.
I'm not able to do it like this, but they can.
Just get straight with the neck, John, when you can, mate. Another 6 metres and then we'll come to a stop. Yeah, anywhere there will do, John, that'll be spot on.
Come in, Dave.
Well done, Dave. Good job, mate.
All in now. That's it for a night.
The howitzer has made it to the museum.
They've done a good job, a great job, it's perfect.
But it's not yet inside, and it's in pieces.
Tomorrow, the big part of building it up. And that will be a tough job.
At the Dutch National Railway Museum in Utrecht, the move crew faces a daunting challenge. squeezed the world's largest surviving railway gun into a packed exhibition hall.
We've got the corner of the building to worry about, that post to worry about. It's not a dead straight line, is it?
Yeah. The entrance is crammed with obstacles. A support beam, staircase, and the museum shop all block the path to the howitser's display area. Take this tight squeeze now, and they'll wreak havoc. To slalom the howitzer into place, the staircase has to go. Spotters will guide Mick and John past the supporting beam, swinging them into place.
We've only literally got like maybe 15 centimetres maximum each side. It's going to be a tight fit, it's going to be snug. Yeah, but we do snug. It's got to be exactly right to get in this place. We can't afford any mistakes.
Keep coming, mate. And come back when you're ready, mate.
It's real tight.
Steady, Mick. Steady, mate. Keep coming.
So, what was that?
That's it, pull it round.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
How he's driving his truck. I can't even do that with my car.
It's there. Yay!
Now, offload the howitzer fast.
The good way or the bad way, but it must finish tonight.
Unloading the precious cargo inside the rammed exhibition hall will be a big test. Swinging a crane is a recipe for disaster. So they have to set up a special lifting gantry to raise the pieces of the howitzer off the trucks and down onto terra firma. Here they can restore the howitzer to its original splendor.
Okay, Noel.
With the carriage sitting snug on the rails, it's time to reunite it with the barrel and rear wheels.
Oh!
They told 11 ton, but I think it's 12.
Too heavy, yeah. It's wrong load, you know.
They need some extra muscle.
Yeah, there it goes. Well, it's down. It's on the track.
Now we must move this thing out of the way so we can bring under the other truck with the barrel. We need 4 big guys to push it this way, so put down your camera and...
An old engine rides to the rescue.
It's now my turn to back into the shed.
Stop. Well done, John. Brilliant job. Well done.
Now just leave it to the lifting guys to do their bit.
Just as they slide the barrel towards the carriage, they hit a glitch.
Yes, we have a small problem, about a centimeter. We cannot pass the cannon over there.
Jeroen is stuck. They have to drag the carriage back to the center of the hall to reunite it with the barrel.
We have a big problem now. We have a problem with the gun is too much to the left, and now we must put it to the right and then slide it in.
The team used chains to line the barrel up.
Well, what they're doing is a little bit dangerous, I am thinking.
For 100 tons above your head, and there can always something happen when it's come down, and then you're dead.
It's okay, they solved it. Great.
It's nearly down, a few centimeters.
So now we have to put it back. That's the last thing to do.
We did it!
Finished.
3 days and almost 400 miles after leaving Lark Hill, the howitzer is finally in place.
It's a very unusual thing to work on, but it's an honor to do it.
It's not every day you move such a historical piece and something that's so sort of important to the history of our country, really.
It's a memory that no one else will ever have. It's just, you know, me and John and Dave have got that memory. We've done it. We can stand here and go, that was us.
The next day, the showpiece exhibit has a grand unveiling.
I'm tired, I'm really tired, and, but I'm also very happy. We needed something big to get a good eye-catcher in our exposition, and it is exactly what I hoped that it should be.
It's a proud moment for Colonel Lefebvre and the whole Royal Artillery.
It is far better than I pictured it many months ago. The atmosphere in this museum is phenomenal. Everybody's pulled together. They've almost made it a project that was not going to fail. And I think to reach this ceremony today, so that it could be opened as the centerpiece in Utrecht, you know, is fantastic.